Let's move to wide receiver. Your top two wide receivers, I would guess Aguilar and Bourne. Am I right or wrong?
Yeah, well, so the way I sort of do things, and I break the receivers down. And by the way, I just noticed that I forgot tackles, guards, and centers on this list. So, but those won't take very long, considering everybody's back. But so I view guys sort of how the Patriots view guys in terms of, and I didn't term them X wide receiver here, but basically I go wide receiver one is the guy who winds up on the left. That's the X wide receiver. And in that group, I have Aguilar, I have Nikhil Harry, and I have Isaiah Zuber. I think Aguilar, no doubt, is the opening day starter, unless, of course, this discussion all hinges on injuries and things like that. But they paid him a lot of money. He's playing. And a lot of times they're only going to play with two wide receivers. And to sort of answer my own questions here, Aguilar's the opening day starter. Could surprise. Look, Zuber's a guy that I could tell you this. There are people in the building that loved the kid last year. I don't know why he didn't get much of a chance, why he was sort of the last guy to get a chance. I don't know if he wasn't doing the right things or maybe not in his playbook or what have you, but I'm telling you, there are people who think a lot of the kid and think he could be something, and he really flashed on the practice field last year. So he's a guy that I think could threaten for, say, the fifth, sixth wide receiver spot on this team if he did what he did last training camp. So I think he's got a chance. And then the player who could be out of this group, obviously we all know it's Nikhil Harry. I think while he could be traded before training camp and all that, it's quite possible. I think it's much more likely. And look, you gotta account for injuries. I mean, look at Juwan James, who the Broncos just went through the draft. They thought they had the offensive line all, taken care of. And then their right tackle goes and tears his Achilles tendon.
Yep.
So you never know what's going to happen. And so it's better to at least, normally with the Patriots, what they do is they keep their guys, and then you see what happens about midway towards the end of training camp, because you never know what's going to happen. What if Aguilar goes down with an ACL? What if Kendrick Bourne tears an Achilles? Like, where are you? So I think Nikhil Harry is here. We'll see what he does. I know Cam Newton has invested a lot of time in Nikhil. Will that pay off? Will the light go on and all of a sudden him catch fire? I doubt it, but I do think that I still think he's a player in this league. I don't know if he's a great player, but I think he could be, sort of like a little Anquan Boldish, possession receiver where he's just, Larry Fitzgerald later in his career, big body, slower guys who just catch the crap out of the ball. And, I think this is all sort of a new reset with Cam back, Mac Jones there. I think he's got a chance, but obviously if it doesn't work out, he's going to be gone at some point.
I honestly wouldn't be surprised by anything with Nikhil Harry. That's how I feel about walking into this season. Yeah. Like last year, again, I think he has a chance to be a player like you do. Is he going to justify being a first-round pick? I don't think we'll see that happen, especially in New England. But is he somebody that can make some plays? Yes, I do think he can make some plays. And I think if the quarterback play was a little bit better last year, he would have looked a little bit better. Would he have been a completely different player and awesome and off the charts? No. But he was open a number of times and the ball wasn't thrown his way. And, the first season I just throw out because of all the circumstances, his injury and Brady not really believing in him, et cetera, et cetera. I would not be surprised if he contributed to this football team. I would not be surprised if he was traded after camp. I wouldn't be surprised by anything with Nikhil Harry. Let's go to the right side. You've got Kendrick Bourne. You've got Trey Nixon in the mix. You have Devin Smith. Your thoughts on that side?
Yeah, so with this position, and even this is somewhat up in the air, because normally in a traditional Patriots like one tight end system, you get a lot of three wide receiver sets. So you have the slot also. Now with two tight ends playing a lot, and we expect them to, I don't expect them, like say the Patriots are down 10 in the fourth quarter. Are you going to put two tight ends, two receivers, and one running back on the field to come back? Probably not. They'll probably just rotate Henry and Johnny Smith and that. So, but let's just go with, if they do have a traditional slot at some point. This is not the slot. This is the X. This is normally the number 3 receiver, but we don't know what's happening at slot. Normally, this is, Julian Edelman would be the slot, and then you'd go to this position. But I think Kendrick Bourne's a guy they need to see on the football field to see what he can do in this offense. And he could be the slot. Look, he's not the traditional guy as far as his build. He's a little bit slender and things like that. But can he take a beating? I do think he catches a lot of balls over the middle. I think you do like, if you did put him at the slot, that he could use his speed to sort of, catch a little hitch and go and go a long ways. But if he's the boundary guy, he's going to play a lot. They love him. The 49ers loved him. They didn't want to lose him. Maybe some of this Jimmy stuff is a little bit of payback for Kendrick Bourne. But, Trey Nixon, the 7th round pick, he's going to have to come in and learn the playbook, number 1. Devin Smith, I don't know a whole heck of a lot about, but he looked okay in his circumstances. But, for this category, opening day starter, no doubt, is Kendrick Bourne. Could surprise. As a 7th round pick, I guess you got to say Trey Nixon, and we'll see what happens with him. And, obviously Devin Smith is the likely guy out, but again, it's all going to be proven on the field.
All right, let's look at the slot. Jakobi Meyers, good old Gunnar Olszewski, and Christian Wilkinson. Your thoughts about that position? Like you said, listen, we've been spoiled in New England with Welker and Edelman. It's going to be a little bit different this year.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see how Gunna looks this year in training camp, because just remembering from last year, I remember seeing him at training camp, and I was like, holy crap, he looks physically like a completely different guy. And I'll be interested to see what he looks like year 3, because I thought he was a real player. Probably the biggest surprise for me was that he didn't contribute more in the passing game last year, because I thought he showed really well in training camp. And so I don't understand, I understand the desperation because he doesn't look the same and Edelman's gone, but I don't know why people are sleeping on Jakobi Meyers as the slot on this team. That's where he's been for the most part since he's been here. He runs a lot of pass patterns over the middle. He's got good quickness. He's able to be elusive. I think he could be a good player here, and I think if you liked Devontae Smith or that sort of physical makeup for the Patriots to be a slot receiver, then you should be okay with Jakobi Meyers, because all the kid does is be productive. And I think, I'm a fan of his, and I would like to see him get more of a shot.
I think the one pushback, Greg, is speed, right? Like, I think people wanted that speedy kind of weapon. And when you look at this wide receiver core, not a ton of speed. I mean, Aguilar is fast. Aguilar can get down the field. Kendrick Bourne is not necessarily a burner. Obviously, Nikhil is not a burner. Jacoby's not a burner. So I think people were more talking about the speed element in the draft, and because you really did not address that, it's going to be one of the things that we question. But I agree with you. I think Jacoby, every time that guy has been given a chance, he's been productive. And until he's not productive, and think about it this way: last year he was productive with bad quarterback play and really no help at wide receiver. So why can't he get open 1-on-1 consistently? And if the quarterback play is better, he should be productive.